Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
I'm probably gonna cut all that out because this is
What are you
terrible.
doing?
I'm gonna cut it all.
This is awful. No one wants to start with this. Don't start.
No one wants to start with any of our banter. I'm sure. Like sometimes we come in and it's like, what the fuck? But no, we're going in now. This is Cultist Semi Knowledge. That's Jordan the Naked Mole Rat over there.
Yeah, what's up?
And fucking the Mountain Man leaves over here. We were talking about it.
I have less hair. You have more hair. That's the whole bit.
Dude, it's a curse. I'm covered in it.
I know. Yeah.
Every inch of me, man.
Yeah.
My son has fucking hairy shoulders. He does. My 2-year-old son has got hairy shoulders.
I was gonna say 2 years, and he's already got a carpet going on.
He does. He's fucking yeah. Anyway, did I say it? Yeah. This is the thing. So we today. So I almost said it's superhero month. Fucking blow my brains out. I almost said.
We're gonna have to do it one year.
I know.
We're gonna have to do it.
We'll do it eventually once we do every single category known to man.
I want to do it. I want to do it when Marvel like chokes and just gives up and they stop making like $1 billion back on their movies.
They are choking, but it's it's the slow long death, and it's just like
it's gonna take forever. Yeah.
But it is there. Thank God, finally it is. But so no, it's Dad. It's June. We're watching Dad movies. But you clicked on the thing, the reason why I got confused is because we watched Logan, the X-Men movie with the Hugh of the Jackman, which tracks because it's very heavily, father figures, and he's the father and all this. But
yeah, he's such a oh my god, huge Jackman dude.
Dude, I know the whole
started for this movie.
The whole time I was watching it, I'm like, I really like Hugh Jackman. I just want him to. I just want him to crush it one of these times because he's always good. But I need him. Okay. I feel like no, he's always good. But like since The Prestige, he's. I
think he crushes it in this movie. But
he's just Wolverine. He just is Wolverine.
I have qualms. Yes, and that's actually a big part of my defense.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's like there are a few characters that it's just like Hugh Jackman will always be Wolverine. You know what I mean? It's like Anthony Hopkins, even though Brian Cox is great, Anthony Hopkins will always be Hannibal Lecter. Like there's just some people that are always that character.
That are always gonna be that character. No, and dude, you know what's crazy? Right off the top here, I gotta tell you, Hugh Jackman was not originally cast. They actually
what?
Dude, have you? Oh my god, I know, dude. Okay, have you ever heard of Dougray Scott?
Okay, not originally cast for the original X-Men or for Logan.
That's what I'm. For the original X-Men.
Okay, I thought you were they were gonna recast someone else for Logan.
oh yeah, my apologies.
I was like, what the hell?
I didn't kind of bury the lead, but no, he originally back in '99, this Dougray Scott was cast, and he was like. Already they were shooting test footage with him. He was already heavily involved. And then he got Mission Impossible 2, the 2001. He got that movie and he was like, I'm gonna chase the bigger money. That's more money. It's a bigger IP. And fucking X-Men was just the infancy of all the
so funny.
The big superhero boom.
Yeah.
And so he fucking Hugh Jackman was like, I'll take it. Hugh Jackman's first American film, which is wild to think about. And be a role that like I literally can't picture anybody else. Like it's so weird to like if
unless they're animated. Unless they're animated, then it's just any live action Wolverine. No, I can't do it.
Yeah, like right. I'm sure there's somebody who can take the helm. Like no one else has played him, so
they can do like a prequel, like do a prequel story or something like they did with the like Days of Future, like First Class and stuff. Right?
First Class, yeah. Right, of course. And that's the thing. It's like James, was it who took over? I'm not super versed on it. But
it's funny we kept mixing him up in that other movie. Now we can't remember his name.
I know it's
James McAvoy.
It is James McAvoy.
James McAvoy is Charles Xavier, and Michael Fassbender is Magneto.
Magneto, which is awesome.
But anyways,
But yeah. So I was watching an interview, and Patrick Stewart's like, they didn't ask me my opinion about who was gonna get cast to play young me. But yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I love James McAvoy was like I'm gonna on the red carpet, he was like, I'm gonna bury him in his role. I'm gonna be the best one.
That's hilarious. I
I'm
know.
like,
I was watching
one's
this,
better
and
than that.
I know. I was like, it's that guy from Green Room. Weird.
Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the green room dude.
That's what he's known for, right? Is the Green Room.
So weird. Yeah, so weird. Look, I wonder if he brings those same views into this movie.
He's great.
He's a good guy in this.
All right, bud.
Yeah,
Everybody,
you wanna-
calm
what-
down. Just
what even happens in this movie?
so.
huh?
All right, for the uninitiated, Logan. So let me just preface this real quick with, I don't know how many of the X-Men movies you've seen. I've seen one, and I think two, and then I've seen First Class, and I think that's it. I remember one kind of good. I don't remember anything else, like plot-wise. And the first time I watched Logan, I didn't think it really mattered, and this time they definitely preluded to some stuff that I'm pretty sure happened in the other sequels that I don't think it's that important, but just keep in mind,
I can tell you right now that it's not. This
Okay.
is 100%. This is 100% standalone. It is built as a standalone.
They reference some stuff from the other movies, but
No, of course they
they're
do.
minor. They're not plot
But those
related.
and their references to such a larger canon that's existed for so much
Right.
longer. And
It's like the comics and everything. Yeah. So
right, exactly. So,
off the top, if you haven't gathered it already, we're not huge superhero fans, superhero nerds in general. So I'm going to pitch this and just know that my X-Men knowledge is pretty limited. So I don't want to hear you say, oh, well, actually, his animanium claws are
well,
blah,
no,
blah, blah.
I would love for you to come to
Yeah.
Reddit and tell us,
please come well,
Come over
actually,
on
me, but
YouTube,
I just warning
I would
you.
love.
I'm
I would
warning
love.
you.
Well, yeah, and I would love to know actually, because I'm like, I really don't really know that much. It's like all the things I know are like from the animated series from like '95.
Correct.
Then, and then
Well,
big movies.
I will say that X-Men, out of all the big superhero IPs, X-Men has always been kind of the more preferred. Like, I like X-Men overall.
Oh, X-Men's got like one of
X-Men's
the greatest
cool.
like stories.
X-Men's cool.
out there, and so it's like even if just adapting base comics, it's like cool storytelling and great ensemble.
Yeah.
and it's more grounded. I mean, clearly they're superheroes and they're fighting each other, but and out of all of it, this is like the most grounded of them all. So
Yeah,
we'll-
I'm there. So I'm there for it. So anyway,
Tell us
X-Men,
the
Wolverine, or Logan, he's an old man, an older guy now. He's having health issues. He's not healing as good. And he is driving around a limo to kind of just be making some extra cash because
sweet Chrysler, baby.
Sweet Chrysler.
Don't knock the Chrysler.
He's driving it around so that he can pay for save up some money to get a boat because he has Professor X, Charles Xavier, hidden down and smuggled in a fucking old plant in Mexico with Caliban, another mutant, taking care of him. So he's planning on buying a boat, and they're gonna go get out of there because Charles has like fucking some degenerative brain disease, like dementia or something. And if you don't know, he's like a super psychic. They say in it that his mind is a weapon of mass destruction, and so he has seizures that basically incapacitates anyone in like a mile radius or some shit.
Yeah.
And so it's bad. So he's like, I got you. I'm going to take you out of here. But all the while, there's this Hispanic lady trying to get a hold of Logan, and he's like, leave me alone, lady. And she's got some little kid with her. And then there's this guy with a one robot arm that's also like, hey, I'm a big fan. Have you seen this kid? And he's like, no. And so one day, he gets involved. He does finally get involved with the woman because she offers him a lot of money to take this kid up to North Dakota where there's a place, Eden, that is like a mutant sanctuary, supposedly. And he kind of begrudgingly agrees because the money's really good. And obviously he's strapped for cash. The woman gets killed. The child smuggles her way into his sweet Chrysler. And they go back to the compound. And she's there. They're followed by the one-armed guy. I forget his fucking name, but, whatever.
It really doesn't
Doesn't matter. The
Yeah.
antagonist
Bad, yeah, like
and
the
his
lackey
squad of
antagonist.
hired Mexican mercenaries or whatever. They go there and, Charles is like, I've been communicating with this girl telepathically. She's a mutant. And Logan's like, she's no mutant. But then, she's literally just Logan. She's got fucking claws that come out. And so she starts decapitating dudes and all this. And there's a huge brouhaha. And Caliban gets captured. And Laura, right, is the girl's name?
Yep.
Laura, Logan, and Charles get out of there. And they fucking barely run for the hills. And they do they go to the casino next, right?
Right, exactly. So they're fleeing. They're on the lam. They're battered and bruised, and then they go to they get their objective, and the objective is to make it to North Dakota.
Right. They're on the run.
Starts their road trip from Mexico.
The other guys are chasing them. They captured Caliban, and his power is to be able to track mutants. So convenient. Right. They have him to track them. There's a fucking crazy scene in at the casino where Charles is having a seizure and they run and they escape again, and they help this gentle black farming family.
I know it was a little goofy, but
they have the moment of solace, and Charles is like, "This is what life is for." Instead of being like, "Hey, people are trying to kill us, and we literally everywhere we go is death and danger. Maybe we should leave this family out of it." They don't. And so the bad guys show up with the scientist also with a clone of Logan that kills this whole family. And you find out that this girl, Laura, is basically a test tube baby bred in a lab to be like a mutant weapon, kind of like how Wolverine was originally supposed to be. But they're bred in a lab, and she got broken out along with some other kids, and she's trying to meet up with them. These other lab-grown mutants and stuff, and so this clone of Logan is like the younger, harder version of him, and so, but they barely get out of there alive too, but except for Charles does die by the clone. He gets super stabbed in a very halfway through the movie in a very anticlimactic way for an arguably more important character for the universe, but yeah. So they make it to North Dakota suddenly, and Logan's not doing good. They have some hitches here and there. He's sick. He's very sick this whole time. He's boozing, and he's got I had to look it up. It's because I was like, do they ever explain why he's sick? And it's adamantium poisoning or whatever. I must have missed it.
Earlier.
I must have missed it. Why exactly it was, but yeah, that makes sense. And so they get to North Dakota. All these other kids are there, and so oh, it is the Eden, but they're in contact with someone across the border in Canada that's like, all you have to do is cross the imaginary line and these guys will quit chasing you.
I know. Yeah.
So they're Logan's like, all right, you got what you wanted, kid. And so the kids go off, and then as the kids are going in the woods on their 8-mile hike, he sees all the military guys and the fucking robot guy drone. So he's like, I gotta do something. So he gets in there, he takes this serum that's super mutant serum that's not good for him.
Daddy's juice is what I kept calling it.
So there's a big old climax. They're all killing all these guys in the fucking woods, and all the military guys eventually get killed, and they kill the clone, they kill the robot arm guy. Everyone dies, including Logan. He gets impaled on a fucking log, and they all have a gentle moment, and then all the kids bury him, and they put little rocks on him, and then they get away to safety, and that's the end. Right. It's very nice. She takes his cross and lays it down on its side so it looks like an X.
It looked like an S. I was at the end I was just like, I bet you in the writer's room they were like, we're gonna do it, man. We're gonna fucking they lays the cross like an X.
Yeah. As in X-Men.
I definitely like this movie a lot. And more than I would expect I would, but only because it's literally Hugh Jackman and then the James Mangold, I think is the director's name. They got together and it was a passion project between them because James Mangold directed Wolverine, the early or the
2013,
2013, 14, yeah. And so he directed that so he's worked with Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine canon, and then he was like, it was actually Hugh Jackman who fucking loves the character of Wolverine. It's something that he has the same passion as Ryan Reynolds to Deadpool, or oh my god, that other guy who did the comic, the video game TV series on Netflix, and he loves it. He loves Warhammer. Anyways, doesn't matter. But
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, thank you. Yeah, Henry Cavill does
The Witcher show on Netflix.
Witcher,
Yes.
yes. Right. So in that same like superstar, power with like the passion to tell a really important story, and it's so cool. I was watching an interview, and Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman was like, my reference for this, he's like, is Unforgiven and The Wrestler. That was like the movie.
Wrestler.
He's like, I want to make it where it's like, he's like, for my character, I was like, I want to have like The Wrestler and like how he's broken and washed up, and Unforgiven, where he's just a mercenary in retirement and coming out of retirement like one last time.
I mean, fucking Barry Mangold or whatever the fuck his name is. He wishes he was either.
I know. Yeah, he's not.
Clint Eastwood. They went full Aronofsky with it. Like,
yeah. Oh my god.
Can you imagine Darren Aronofsky Wolverine?
I think like my main things is like, I think it's because this is like the first genuine grounded film they made that like it's rated R, but not like Deadpool, where Deadpool is like, we're gonna say shit and piss, and we're gonna be gory and goofy, and like it's like Deadpool's like, it has to be rated R because Deadpool is rated R. That's his character.
Right. It's very like Deadpool is very like sardonic and like fourth wall and like which it does what it does well, and it's fine.
I love Deadpool too for that reason. Like I think it's quirky and it's fun.
So you've seen Logan before, though, right?
I just love. Yeah, I saw Logan in theaters, I think, or at least with that year it came out. I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, but anyways, I just think it's cool because Hugh Jackman he's like, I don't care if it's rated R or PG-13, but I just want to tell this story. And so if I'm going to be violent and I'm going to be like swearing at this kid and like if this is our emotions, then like it can be rated whatever. I just want to make this story, and that was something I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad that like he wasn't leaning one way or the other. He didn't want to make it rated R like Deadpool. He just was like, let's just make this story.
Well, good, because that's always been my thing. I'm not like, us, we're always like, we prefer rated R movies, but it's because 9 times out of 10, a PG-13 movie is a neutered rated R movie, not what it was supposed to be, which is a badass PG rated movie.
Right.
And so it's like, just make the movie you want to make, and then it's rated whatever the fuck it's rated, right? And you're not trying to meddle to cut it to fit some market, right? And so it does, and so I would love to think that, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true for this movie, but it really feels like to me that they were like into production, maybe not shooting it, but like into production, and they're like, because this came out right after Deadpool, and so I feel like Deadpool was a success, and they're like, whoa. It's like, maybe we do go the full rated R, because it does feel like an afterthought, sort of. Like, it's all there, but it's like, it's all CG, all of it. And it does feel like earlier on, too, they're like, yeah, we're going to get the fucks out of the way. Like, fucking Professor X is just like, fucking Logan and that fucking albino and all this. And we're like, all right, guys, we get it. It's rated R. We get it. But
I mean, I think, it's like their opening scene is like gratuitous violence,
which it's great because it really establishes the tone. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's the thing. Like,
this ain't your grandma's X-Men.
Out of all the, I know, and that I think it's always gonna seem like disgenuine for me. Like, it's not. I just like, I can't fully get on board because it's like you should have been doing this with all of them, because like that's like one of my like least favorite things about all the superhero films that we've experienced in the last 24 years is that like they just, it's like they have superpowers. Like that's how come like The Boys or something like Invincible, like it's like, yeah, that's going to be like, these people have like crazy superpowers, and if they go against a human being, they're going to eviscerate them.
Right. I agree and disagree, because it's like, I do think superheroes, it's like, should be for kids, should be accessible to a point, but it's like, I almost think they should go farther in that direction, because it does feel like with most like Marvel movies and even most DC movies, like any superhero movie, that it's like they want it to be like mature and a big kid, but also like they want to stay family friendly, and I'm like, if they just like leaned into a little more family friendly, like some of the animated superhero movies, like honestly, like Megamind is better than fucking 99% of the Marvel movies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
No,
And, like,
yeah.
Incredibles obviously is like the best one,
Sure,
and that's
Incredibles is such a good movie, just period. But like Megamind is a fun take on the comic book hero. But I think something I just wanted. This is something
Old Man
I don't think I've
Logan
talked about.
he's more mature, and so it makes sense to have a mature tone. It's like these are the two old men in the violence. Like this is not a movie geared toward, like, we're not trying to get the 13-year-old boy in the seats. Like, let's just make a movie for the big kids. And it's like, you know, the first movie came out like
I think I know what you're saying.
18 years prior at this point. But yeah.
Right, exactly. But I think what you're like, it almost does feel like they shot it PG-13 and then added blood in later.
They tack like they kind of are like
gonna be like let's like zhuzh it up because it's like, well, we're gonna be R now. So it's like, but even though it's like the script, even with like the swearing and stuff, that's such an easy fix to get a PG-13 rating, especially for like the Marvel universe, you know, creators, and like this kind of like they can kind of do whatever they want, you know, they can kind of grease the palms of the rating system. So it's like I feel like I know what you mean. It does feel kind of like they added that in,
or like not even added it in, but like made it so it was okay to take it out. Like at any point,
right? Sure.
It was like it was so on a sliding scale. Like I feel like they made it because there's definitely shots that like were intended. Like you can't shoot that PG-13. It's fucking going through the guy's face.
I know. With especially the casino scene is where I'm really like, okay, they committed at that point. Yeah. They were like, we're gonna.
But it does feel like they're like, okay, if we show this to an executive and they're like too violent, it's like, okay, let's take out the blood splashes in this scene because they can. But anyway, that moving past that because I think like this was your first time or second? This is my second. This is my second time.
Yeah, same here. It's at least my second. So
first time I saw it, I didn't want to see it. I didn't really care. Like I'm like, oh cool, like they're doing something sort of different, so that's nice. But I don't care enough. But Pablo was like, no, you would probably dig it. It's like it's like more mature. It's rated R. It's like got like a Western vibe. And I'm like, all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So I watched it like shortly after it came out at home. And I thought it was pretty good. Like I had a good time with it. I was like, oh, that is pretty damn good. You know, I quite enjoyed that. So, you know, flash forward to now, 7 years later or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. I'm kind of like, I'm interested to see how I feel about this now. And this is one of those movies that does not get better a second time.
I agree.
We talk about those where it's just like, I remember all the beats. There's nothing in, if anything, the details make it worse. Like there's some movies where you watch a second time and you pick up on the details and you're like, oh, that's really thought out and that's really like connected. And I never noticed that nuance before, where there's also a lot of other movies where it's just like, oh, this was cool to just enjoy it the first time. But now it's like the details are like inconsistent or like something is like poor or like whatever. And and I'm not saying this was bad by any stretch, because I mean this movie was still above average for especially for the type of movie it is, right? But I'm like, this time around I was like I noticed way more of things I didn't like this time around. Even though I still had a good time with it, you know what I mean? I still enjoyed myself. But, same for you,
biggest,
more or less.
My biggest thing, exactly. I really, I mean, I think I probably still. I like it just as much as I did the first time, but I'm like, I'm kind of almost like I'm more disappointed in this time because it could have been tighter.
Yeah.
It has a long run, and I think that's like, I think the runtime I don't feel the runtime. Its pacing is really good, but like, I feel like, you know, it's a road trip movie essentially, and so they're fleeing and they're on the lam, and I think like. It feels clunky and awkward how he gets the girl, how like they meet. Like the scenes are fun. I really enjoy it. But like the like having an exposition dump on like the cell phone and then it just like falls into the trappings of like first person found footage, you know, where like he's in the facility he's in the facility filming the conversations perfect. And I was like,
and there's like post-production voiceover
post-production.
where she's like
Yeah.
explaining. She's like, I got to make sure that when I die, I have all this exposition that I can give. And I'm like
Right.
imagining her on her phone in that hotel on like fucking iMovie, just like editing and recording. Like that was a bad take. Let me record the voiceover again because it was like
I
the
know.
production. It's weird. But
No, and that
this movie's kind of
these
full of stuff like that
these are-
though, where it's just like,
exactly,
I hope you didn't like. It's just whatever.
It's
Moving
that-
on, moves the
Well,
story
that's the thing,
forward.
And I
but-
think I think it's because every time there's exposition, they punctuate it with like an action scene.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
That's the
okay,
best way to
that's-
get you to
that's what
forget
they're-
about it. Is
100%, 100%. Because that's going into this movie. I really only remember it. Like I thought they get together really fast. I mean, they do essentially. It's like it's in that 20-minute arc, you know. But like I thought it was like a little quicker, and I thought like that, and then I thought they just like kept moving, and like they do like these things happen, but there are more scenes where like they kind of stop and talk, and like not and like just exposition dump, and I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I know, we just saw you flee from this guy. And like it just doesn't feel organic how they came up with like the information. And when they meet that like the soft-spoken freaking ranching family, that was the most awkward. I remember when I first saw it, I remember liking it because like I was like, oh man, like I was like, oh, it raised the stakes. Like it's like, and I mean, and clearly like one of the main characters dies in the movie, and you're like holy shit, like it does feel like the
that
stakes get risen.
distracts you from like wait, what? Like
so-
where's the logic there? If you're just gonna, like it's frustrating. That scene was really frustrating for me. That whole sequence, because it's more than one scene. It's quite long.
Like when they meet the family and the horses come in and then they go and have dinner and the whole time it's like I felt like the first time I saw it they did a really good job at like kind of giving me a minute to breathe, like to be like okay, maybe they're gonna be okay. But now on this time watching it, I was just like, this is the stupidest. Why'd they go with them? Why'd they go with them even in the slightest? Like there really is no like it's just poorly written.
They
have no reason,
and there's no
besides him
connective
going,
tissues. Yeah, they're just
Right,
and then they're at dinner there at their ranch. You know. It is very much like they just draw a quick line of conclusion, like, okay, we just concluded that this happened, and it happened off screen, so don't ask questions. But it's like the whole, like earlier, especially the casino and stuff, which the casino scene is dope as fuck.
That's the greatest. That's the greatest part in my opinion.
That's awesome. That's a great sequence.
It's so cool, and it really just gives me. I mean, like I love watching like someone overcome, and like it's so cool that Wolverine's like the strongest like guy, and
just
and
like
it's
that
cool that like
hit.
Professor X is like so like he like would kill everybody there, you know.
Yeah,
with
it's
his
like
mind,
if
he
it
can't
did,
control
it's like that is a mass destruction right there. Kill everyone in the
Right.
casino, man.
Yeah.
But like, it's like coming from that where they're like, okay, the stakes are high everywhere we go. Caliban's is like potentially dead, all this shit, and then they're like, you know what? This family's real nice. Let's hang out with them for like a weekend. You know,
I know.
Even though
Yeah.
everywhere we go is death and destruction, and you know, and so it's just like the kid's like, hey, yeah, here's my iPod or whatever, and he's like, he goes with the dad to like fix the water pump just so we care about this family, and then it's just like, it doesn't make me care more about the family. It makes me hate Logan and Charles more because they should have the foresight to be like, this is dumb. Let's get the fuck out of here. We're putting their lives at risk. Yeah.
Yeah, they like it's that. There's no writing your way out of it, no matter what. Like, as touching as it is, and like as cool as it is that the dad gets to fucking hit him with the truck and shit. That's awesome.
Well, the writers set it up like it's a fine sequence on paper and everything, but like the writers set it up just for pure emotional manipulation, sort of. It's just like, oh, this is the more fuel to add to Logan's guilt. You know what I mean? It's like he's everywhere he goes, people he cares about die, and I got this nice family killed. But it doesn't ever like grapple with it in any interesting ways. Like, I think that's the problem.
I mean, I forgot that the whole family died. I straight up when we were watching it,
kills
I'm like,
the kid and the
like,
mom and everything.
I thought, no, exactly. Well, I was like, oh, I was like, does the mom and the kid survive? Because I remember the dad dying and like doing that with the shotgun, but like. I was like, what happens to the parent? Like, or the mom and the kid? And then I was like, oh, they just die. Okay. I was like, wow, okay. I don't like, so that's what sucks is like, I'm like, it doesn't really hold as much emotional value as it should. It really could have been cut the whole sequence.
Yeah. The action sequences are cool, but like the first half is miles better than the second half. Like after the farm, because then it's like you have her taking him to the doctors, which could have been interesting. because the doctor's like, you're a mutant and I'm interested and I want to help. And now he's finally like, no, save your own skin, and gets out of there. I'm like, oh, now you care about some guy you just met. But like, that could have been interesting, but it's not. And then they teleported to North Dakota and they're there. And then honestly, even the in the woods fight sequence felt so just like,
It
I don't
felt
know,
like
cheap.
It felt like 2012.
It did, yeah. It
Or
felt
X-Men
like
fighting. No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, like it felt like the first Captain America to me, whereas like they're just in the woods, blowing up trees, and they have a bunch of tank guys because it's cheaper to do it that way, and we'll just add CG. And some of the CG in that scene was awful.
It's really rough.
It's really
no bums me out. The kids. So it's like Victoria and I were like talking about the kids' motivation to like survive. There was like they literally get captured. There are three mutants that do something.
Yeah.
And there's what, 20 kids or whatever.
And they show the same kid's powers a couple times. I'm like, mix it up, like the electric kid and the grass kid.
It's like you are not limited on budget. You are not limited on ideas. You're not limited on anything. You just chose to like. I understand in the writing room they were like, well, we're gonna focus on Logan and the relationship, and so like trying to flush out those kids and do anything with the kids. I understand you didn't need that, but like the fact that they got captured immediately, it was so clanky and rushed.
It is like because they cut
where like it didn't need to be,
and the kids are like, it did feel like, okay, action, and they're just like run towards the camera, a group of kids and a group of soldiers chasing behind them, and you're like, what? How's that happening? Like I don't know. It just felt like thrown together.
And the blocking of all of it is like, it's just disorienting. But.
Yeah, it's a bummer but it's serviceable. It's fine. You know what I mean?
Right, of course. I'm bummed that like we didn't the kids. I wanted the kids to like they give the kids one satisfying moment where they get to kill the dude, the main bad guy or whatever, you know. And I'm like, and it was kind of lame, and it's like so lame. And I was like,
it didn't look very good. It was just him squirming on the ground with really terrible CG over him, and like they were getting their vengeance, but like. I don't care about him because he has no motivation. He's fucking paper thin, and he's literally
getting paid.
Yeah, he's the main antagonist essentially, and he is basically just a mercenary. And he dies, and I barely met these kids that have. There are only 3 of them have powers. So why is that moment impactful? It's not. Like,
I know.
And then like the scientist is like the real brains behind it, but the motivation of like this huge, multi-million fucking. Like plan is like, this is our super soldiers and we want them back. And it's like, I don't know. Like the antagonist's motivation is very like, just like, I'm a generic bad guy, you know? Like,
right. Well, it's a bummer to be like, that's like the through line when you're like, you know, making Leon the professional and then, but then you're like, well, it's gotta be a superhero movie shoehorned into that. It's tricky. And like, I really like what, like they did with it, but there are some really glaring issues, and I don't know. Yeah, it's like I'm like torn on like the more we talk about it, I'm kind of like God, I'm more frustrated.
Yeah, well, it's because it just like that's the thing. I noticed more. I'm like overall that's like fine. It's like the first half was really good. It set the tone. I like the violence. You know what I mean? But like this time around, I just was way more noticing about how just generic everything felt. Maybe it's just because I have it's just like all the fight scenes were shot exactly the same. It's always some person doing like 1,000,000 flips off of another person, like spinning around like 100 times. It's like cut exactly the same. And it's just like, it's all the beats are there. It's fucking paint by numbers, which is a bummer because it's like, yeah, the first half, like kind of up till the casino and everything like that is really engaging, really cool. You know what I mean? But it kind of just doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't pay off with like any of the buildup. You know, the scientist, and it's just like the bad guy's just like they show him in the camera footage, just like gut punching kids just because he's the bad guy and like, why not?
Yeah.
And so that, you know, it was a bummer. But what movie I was thinking about the whole time while watching this? A far superior movie, which is always the worst when you're trying to watch a movie and you keep being reminded of a masterpiece, is Children of Men.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're very like dynamic, like the begrudging hero, like we're not friends, and like literally even the scene when Charles dies is like pretty similar to the scene when Michael Caine dies.
That's true. Yeah, right.
It's like it's got a lot of the same beats and like the same overall like. I feel like the 2010s were just full, like between Last of Us and this and everything, were full of like begrudging daddy figures taking
Well,
some
dude,
girl
that-
on a
that's
cross country road trip because he's like forced into
the
a
Hound,
hero position.
the
Dude,
Hound and Arya.
Yes, dude.
That literally like
So
and that's,
much.
And I think that's like there.
That's
I don't
a
know
genre.
What it is. There's something literally though. Like I said, Leon the Professional, because like there's
Exactly.
something about that like I don't know what it is that like we love like as a society making these films and like. I just, I wonder what was like one of the first ones to do it because Leon the Professional.
Leon's pretty early, but even then, it's like not like the traveling, but like he's kind of into it, sort of like he's like, I don't want you, but while I have you, I'm gonna just fucking make you the ultimate killing machine, right?
Right.
And it's Leon
but
the Professional, 'cause
opposing
Gary
opposing,
Oldman
like,
is fucking
you
a
know.
good villain, like.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah, like giving like and it's like yeah, the begrudging, but then like. And I mean, I think it's like in this, it's a bummer because it feels rushed also for his like redemption at the end. Because it's like when they have their like 2-second conversation, I was actually like, oh wow, I really liked this ending. Like when like their relationship's really great. And when he's like, oh my God, he's like, this is what it feels like. It's pretty like, cathartic to be like, oh fuck, dude, like Wolverine died. Like even with my like, minimal knowledge but like Wolverine's one of my favorite super villains or superheroes, super anything really. Like, and he's one of the most popular. He's essentially like, I think I probably like him more than Batman almost. Like in that,
he's up there, man, for sure.
Like his, and I love how like he is totally like he's got daddy issues and he doesn't want a family, but then like he does, he always wants a found, and it's like he always has a found family, and like so at the end for him to be like, this is what it feels like. It's pretty like it's fucking crazy, especially if you've been watching. I can only imagine this movie did fantastic in the box office and critically it was well received, and I can only imagine if you're a fan watching this from 2000 to now, 2017, 17 years later. I bet the impact was probably incredible
huge.
because I enjoyed it, and I'm
exactly. It still felt like it felt culturally significant to like superhero lexicon in general, because it's like, even though there's like many different timelines when it comes to superheroes, it's like seeing these two huge characters that are like across comics, like even though we've only seen so many, but it's like it's like Batman dying or fucking Superman dying. And I actually like, I love Wolverine, but I actually like Professor X a lot. I've always really liked Professor X, and I always thought he was super cool because he's like, he's in the wheelchair, but he's fucking like almost the most deadliest, like deceptively deadly, but also super smart.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Well, then he's like one of the. I mean, you rank him, and he's like one of the strongest X-Men ever.
Oh, yeah.
And like, so it's like cool to have that, like to see him. But then it's like I love how he's like, you got to use your powers for good. Like he truly is like, he's very balanced in his like approach.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, unfortunate. Like, I don't know. It's all the whole movie's like, so like, I know we've been ragging on it for a sec here, but let me be clear that like, I think this is one of the better by far superhero movies because it does take a good tone. Like the tone is there that needs to be, like it takes itself seriously to tell an emotionally, attempting to do an emotionally impactful story that is full of mature themes and like obviously badass R-rated violence, but like it's like it does it. And I wish more superhero movies would do that, but like feel genuine, because this like feels a little bit genuine, and that's why it's frustrating, because if it felt just like a cheap cash in, then I could write it off. But it's like there's enough really good there that I'm like, I want to see the alternate reality where this is where things went, but it's like Deadpool's where things went. You know what I mean? Which is fine. And it's like, I like Deadpool, but it's like that's more memeification. That's better for the internet, People hate Westerns,
Yeah, and that's and it's funny because on the
for watching Shane for like 5 straight minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. The fact that like, and it's so funny because like I love like the idea of Shane, and then it's also kind of funny to be like, it's the genius writer. If you want to like have an impactful thing, you just take a better movie or like take a like iconic film and then just like riff from it and just kind of copy it for your own emotional like ending, which I kind of on this watch, I was like, It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting, and I think that kind of encapsulates this film perfectly. It's a movie that is just taking a bunch of archetypes and a bunch of tropes and a bunch of story beats and just putting them on top of a comic book film.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'm down for that. It's cool. It's like they don't do that as much in other films. Like they homage other films, obviously, and there's Easter eggs clearly, but like to actually thematically bring that in through your whole movie.
That's a good way to put it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, because it's still the shape of a superhero movie, which is unfortunate. Where all the problems with a superhero movie it has still with like the generic pacing and the way, like just the way, or not pacing,
and the clunky, just one-dimensional bad guys. Ugh, rough.
But yeah, it's got the shiny, cool things pasted on it from shit I love, and it does almost trick me into being its own thing and being cool. Which it's like, I'm kind of into it. I wish they would even take more risks, because that still is a gamble to be like, oh, here's what works and here's what makes money, but let me try and like collage some shit on top of it and see what happens. Yeah. And I'm down.
Right. I mean, I'm excited to see like Deadpool Wolverine, because this Hugh Jackman said that this was the last film he'll ever play.
I remember
Wolverine.
that, yeah.
but he said, unless my really good friend, he's like, he sees Ryan Reynolds all the time. And so like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are good friends. And so he's like, if Ryan Reynolds wants me to do a Wolverine, I'll reprise it for him. I'll like
my lover, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll 100% be there for Deadpool 3 because it's like, I like Deadpool. Like the first Deadpool is pretty good. Like
I love it. Yeah.
The second Deadpool is even pretty decent because Josh Brolin's cool. Like, but like he's a cool time traveling guy with good motivations, even though they're simple. It's like I'll take it, and it's like you can do that like sardonic, because like one of my more recent favorite superhero movies is the newer Suicide Squad, because it's like they get kind of unique with the filmmaking style. It's still again the shape of a superhero movie, but it's like they do some things. They take some stuff from Deadpool and kind of work it. But
I mean, they Josh Whedon it, so it's just like
not quite. It's not as egregious, but yeah, they do.
Right.
They that is one of the things on there, on the collage, right? But and so come at me, because this is the route I wish superhero movies would have gone. Is I think one of the best superhero movies is Watchmen. Zack Snyder's Watchmen. That is the tone. It's self-serious. It's like, I mean, smarter for like what it does. Like it's got interesting ramifications, and the bad guys win technically. It's like, and it's so distinct, like thematically and tonally and like visually, that it's like, I wish that would have kind of been the route they went. Like say what you will about, it as an adaptation and fucking Zack Snyder in general. Yeah, but it's really, like, I mean, that's Zack Snyder's best movie by a mile.
Yeah. I mean, we did watch Dawn of the Dead. Go listen to that podcast.
It's okay, but that's Watchmen's way better.
We critique it there. And I agree, Watchmen is.
Oh yeah, but you loved Army of the Dead, though.
I do really like Army of the Dead, so I'm kind of like I'm an Army of the Dead stan. So I don't know, come at me on that too.
Well, it's just because you like everything in a shallow depth of field, and so.
I know, really though. Well, and that like his whatever his like, I do kind of like his color palette, like his oranges, his deserty stuff, and his night. It looks great.
I like the look of his movies and the style.
I think did we say this last time, where it's like Zack Snyder would be like my Michael Bay. Like if people like I don't really like Michael Bay very much, but I like Zack Snyder, and he's like the same. Yeah. They're in that realm, and so. Yeah. But I
just would have went that route, because I'm like, I don't need super serious superhero movies. I don't need that. I think the best superhero movie actually is The Incredibles, and I think is the best superhero movie I've seen that I could think of. But it's like, I don't know, like Logan, it's nice to have these like more mature, because it's like Deadpool's not mature. That's not the right word. It's adult, but it's immature as fuck. But it's still fun.
It's a raunch comedy it's a raunch comedy on top of a superhero film.
I think we're all just sick of superheroes. It's like, me and you, we're hipsters and we're cool. We had superhero fatigue back right after Iron Man.
Well, no, honestly though, it's like because the first Iron Man came out, and then I remember seeing the Marvel universe that came up to like 2020 or something. They had like because that was their whole thing. And this is what's genius though, dude. I do respect Marvel for doing this, where like they made Iron Man with like the intentions of flushing out all, like they literally were like, okay, we're gonna make like, I can't remember what it was. It was something like 10 movies. I remember seeing this on Reddit.
Yeah.
And it was like they had that like the flow chart or whatever, where it was like, okay, we make Iron Man, and then these are the people we're gonna hit to make Avengers, whatever, Endgame or whatever. You know, it's like to build. They're like, we're gonna make the movies. We're gonna do it like comic books. So we're gonna have all these runs, all these movies, and we're gonna come together. They'll have their crossovers and shit like that. And I was like, that's genius. That's a genius way to do it.
From
Love
a business standpoint, surely, but
yeah,
you lose
but it does suck.
that. It's like the formula. The whole thing becomes a formula because like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans and the first 2 X-Men movies.
Oh yeah,
before,
you were saying that.
Those
I agree,
they have
though,
a certain thing, but they weren't ultra popular then. But like once Marvel became such a huge thing, I know it's popular to hate Marvel or whatever now, but like. Then there are some good ones. I like the first Iron Man. I like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw the first Captain America, and I was like, oh, this is the direction they're going, and that's pretty much it. You know, so I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know. It like really was just like,
everyone I saw.
I think this. It's hard to talk about these because like I get like, I don't know, Victoria's friend, my friend Taylor, she like she loves them, and I think at this point it's kind of like. It is just a habit now. You have to go see the newest iteration of the films. But I don't know if you saw Madam Web, dude. Oh,
since it's all connected, it's fucking frustrating. It's like, how can you even bother to even try? Because it's like Mary watched.
It's daunting.
Most of the Marvel movies, so it's nice when it's like the X-Men and Deadpool and stuff. Even though like they're technically Marvel, but they're like a Marvel adjacent, so they're not part of the main core Avengers team and all that. So you don't see them because I know there's probably like there's like licensing differences slightly or whatever. So that's why X-Men aren't in all the Marvel movies or whatever. But like I don't know. So that's why it's like I guess I always like X-Men because there's like just less of them. And so it's just like I don't know. This movie is above average for the type of movie it is. I just don't care for this type of movie. You know what I'm saying? Like overall, like I just
I was gonna say earlier, like I kind of just want to watch Unforgiven. Like he was like Hugh Jackman was like, oh, I wanted to make this Unforgiven, and like Wolverine's character, and I was like, Unforgiven's such a good movie. Like just, I don't know. I'm like God, I wish it was just like Unforgiven.
I put Unforgiven in like 3 polls over the last year. And it hasn't won. So we're watching it because I haven't seen it in years, and we're watching it in November for sure.
We'll just do it.
I'm gonna put it on every poll till it wins. And if it doesn't win, I'm just gonna watch it and do an episode about it anyway because it's like I've just been wanting to watch it.
I would love to watch it. But I wanted to say something real quick too. My favorite superhero, like pretty much anything isn't a true superhero. It is that of the Venture Brothers. One of the greatest shows that has ever done superheroes.
Yeah.
And it was the original Deadpool. Like, dude, it was
Venture Bros rocks.
Venture Bros was like riffing and being meta on the superhero trope and arc years before any of this.
Yeah.
And so like 20 years basically. Like they had it planned out and mapped to where like it was like silly cartoons mixed with meta. Like I'm like, go do yourself a favor out there, human beings. If you out there in podcast land, go look up Venture Brothers. Don't watch the first season; it's a little rough, but like 2 to 6 or whatever is really good. And the movie's coming out soon, hopefully, unless it already did and I missed it. But
yeah, I think it might have.
Dude, the Venture Brothers are amazing, and that's like the best.
Yeah, you don't really think. Superhero. Yeah, when you say Venture Bros, I don't think superhero, but you're absolutely right.
It's 100. Yeah. They come up with all the goofy superheroes and all the Cape Crusaders and stuff.
Well, it's like even the fucking. I'm spacing it. Anyway, what's the main villain? The fucking.
The Mighty Monarch.
The Monarch, yeah.
Yeah, dude. He's a super villain.
He is.
Yeah, like that's
dude. It is. The Monarch should have been in Logan.
Dude, the Venture Bros is so good.
Anyway, so yeah, this movie. Give me a money minute, and I'll see if I get it right.
I mean, what do you think the money was on this bad boy?
I mean, it's a massive superhero movie, but also like slight not the butts in the seats. So I don't know. I mean, I bet it was probably like 80 to 100 mil to make, and then probably made like, I don't know, 250 mil.
Woo, okay. You're really close on budget. It was 97 million.
Yeah.
But it's like 97, and then they don't. God, they're so like secretive. But they're thinking it was like another 27 million for distribution.
Yeah,
But
it's like it's hard to count that
Probably.
sometimes because distribution can be like more than way more than the actual production budget by a mile. So.
totally, that has happened. Yes. But anyway, so we'll just say a cool 97 mil, and it made $619 million. It made over like
over half a billion, huh?
Half a billion. God, that's such a weird word to say for a movie. Over half a billion just on ticket sales, and that's the Chinese market. Did you remember on our last
we were talking
episode? But yeah, the episode for
yeah, we were The Fugitive.
No, it was The Fugitive. Yeah, it was The Fugitive, the first dad movie we watched this month. That introduced the Chinese market back to America, and boom, now we make $1 billion off our movies now because of it. It's like crazy, dude.
It's wild.
It's like that. And I mean, that's why these movies they're genius. Like just on a not a
probably why they
standpoint,
did
but-
it all CG. They're like, so we got to make sure it can get through the Chinese censors, because if not, then dial it back a little bit, because obviously we're
really,
releasing it
dude.
there. Yeah,
I really wonder if there was an edit that like wiped
that
a
makes
lot
sense.
of it out.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. And that one part when Charles Xavier was like, "Death to the fucking communism and death to the Chinese," they cut that.
They totally cut that. Yeah, when he was like, "We're not commies. Are you guys commies?"
God bless America. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I got a couple Reddit. So Chainsaw Superman says, "I'll be curious what people think because I've always found this movie disappointing. Maybe because it was hyped as more than a superhero movie at the time, but I found it pretty basic and nostalgia baity when I finally saw it one of the last days in theaters. I don't really like Mangold's films, and weirdly I like the Wolverine better, even if it completely falls apart at the end." And that is, I've never seen the Wolverine, but like, I don't want to though.
I might be mixing it up, but I think the Wolverine is the one that has, like, doesn't Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, that's the first
Play
Deadpool, but he looks super weird. I've seen the memes and
right.
stuff, but I've never
Because
seen
it's,
it.
yeah, no, I might have seen that movie maybe. Because I really liked the X-Men stuff, and so like I think I might have seen the Wolverine. He like gets cut in half maybe or something. God, I really don't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's one of those. But that's funny. He does play the original Deadpool, and it's supposed to be like, it's so funny how they like took that route, and then like what Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool is
So,
genius.
Chainsaw Superman, you're telling me you don't like Identity, James Mangold's masterpiece? Identity?
Dude, I can't believe no. So what it is, I looked it up. He did Identity. Oh, so he did Girl Interrupted. Then he did Identity. Then he did Walk the Line. Then he did 310
Walk
to Yuma.
the Line?
Yeah,
I forgot
dude.
about that.
This mother flipper
So
is out
weird.
here. Like in like 7 years, he makes like some really, really fucking impactful films. You know,
I
and
want to
mean,
watch
it's like-
310 to Yuma again because it's like, and I'll put that in the Western Month poll for sure. But like 310 to Yuma, I remember really liking it, but it did feel like just like a superhero-y, like shot, like a Western movie trying to be an action movie. But it's got Ben Foster in it, so I'm automatically hard and Christian Bale. So
Yeah.
like, so it's like it's got it's the recipe. So, and Identity, to be clear, is terrible, but it's got a place in my heart.
Dude,
It's got a place in my
Identity's
heart.
amazing. No,
I
so,
love
like,
Identity,
yeah,
but it's not a good movie. It's got a lot of problems, but it
Are you
is.
kidding me, dude?
Oh,
Identity
it's
is amazing.
great.
No, I
It's
know.
great.
No,
We
no.
love Identity.
No, I was just I'm joking because it is a really bad movie. It shows its age like terribly, but we watched it at Chet's cabin like every time we went up there, so it's like it's a classic.
Well, and I watched it when I was a kid when it first came out in theaters at the 5-Star Cinema. I went there because it came out when I was like 10 or whatever, and it blew my tiny little mind. It was perfect for the brain of a 10-year-old just to go see Identity, because it's like, if you think about it too hard, it makes no sense and it's awful, but
No, and
it's just it's cool
during,
and it's edgy.
it's during that 5-year period where the early 2000s after Sixth Sense came out, every single like dark thriller had to have a twist.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, and
yeah,
it's definitely
it's
like
great.
channeling some fucking B movie David Fincher vibes. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just like all this
I-
like moody, grimy. But
I want to watch it again, dude. I love that movie.
those type of movies were formative for me. I was
Yeah.
a fucking edgelord even as a 10-year-old. And so I was definitely sitting there in the theaters that I snuck into for Identity and being like, yeah, there's a serial killer on the loose. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
my
right.
kind of movie. Anyway, and then I got one more Reddit, so I bet you can guess who it is. It's Clones of People 2 says, first watch of this, I'm not a huge superhero film fan, but I heard this was a good one, but I never got around to it. So the good. I want more R-rated mature superhero films. I think there can be some great films with a more serious tone and adult themes. The character drama was refreshing and the acting had depth. I like the more realistic and brutal violence too. But the bad, it felt formulaic. That's what I dislike most about the genre. I feel like I see the script with this, the beat by beat of the Marvel playbook, and it makes it feel all too predictable and honestly dull. I feel like it could take more risks with style. It's really playing it safe and making a Marvel film for an older audience. What I was hoping for was a more mature superhero film. This doesn't compare with Joker or Into the Spider-Verse. Oh yeah, that's the other great one. Which are both mature and stylish and really good. Overall, it's not bad. Probably one of the better superhero films I've seen, but it's all a bit flat. 7 out of 10. Why do we have a podcast? Clones of People too.
Yeah,
Go.
that was-
You do your own because
that was-
you're always
that was
like
perfect.
right on the nose. Most of the time. Most of the time, I forget what movie. That's
No, I know. Yeah, right. We yeah, because it's all it's all opinion
No, it's
based.
great.
All all inside.
I want,
and,
like I said earlier,
love
I
your
want
comments.
the well actuallys. I like to hear the opposite opinions when it comes to art. That's what's fun. Anyway, I'm done talking about Marvel. We can't do a superhero movie, man. I don't know.
I know
because
it would
I
be rough,
will.
But it would be. We would be doing like we'd be doing like Mystery Men and like
That's what I'm saying. We would
I
be
wouldn't wanna
doing
watch,
the
like,
fucking
Marvel.
weird. Like I would be finding the most obscure superhero movies I can just to avoid watching
Yeah.
the Marvel movies. I would just be
Yeah.
like putting the weirdest shit. I'm like, oh yeah, like some weird offshoot 70s Batman. Like,
We have to. We need to do a
Sorry,
Marvel
I put that-
month, dude. We need
Wait, not a Marvel
gotta-
month. Whoa.
We have
I'll
to
do a
have
superhero
not
month.
Marvel
I'm not
month,
sticking-
superhero
committing
month,
to
Marvel week. And so it's like we want someone to listen to this podcast, please.
That's true.
we
Yeah.
do a Marvel
Come-
movie.
If it means if you're listening and you want a superhero month, just you come to the Reddit, say, give us onto the comments here or to the YouTube and say, give us a superhero month, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll fucking
I mean,
do it.
we're-
But
yeah.
we're gonna watch Mystery
We're
Man.
gonna Oh, 100%.
and Super, like all those like weird
Yeah.
ones.
yeah, dude, exactly.
Anyway. God,
Nah.
Mystery Man's another one. So anyway, I don't know if it's one because I have been setting the polls a little earlier on Sundays to a 3-day limit. So tomorrow morning is when I'll know for sure. But I'm surprised because out of all the movies, what did you vote for this next week?
You always ask every time, and then I forget. Oh, Dirty Harry. I voted for Dirty Harry.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, The Hunt for Red October is winning.
Never like by a lot, and I picked that for 2 reasons. The first reason, I've never seen it. We watched it in Kurtwood at East Hollywood. Showed it one time, but I was just high as fuck and goofing around in the back of the class, so like I didn't watch it. But I've seen all the other ones. And I've not seen Hunt for Red October, but I also selected it because I thought it would be the underdog. I was like, it's going against Shawshank Redemption, Raging Bull, fucking Dirty Harry, and Braveheart, and
I
The
can't
Hunt
believe
for Red
Shawshank-
October.
Yeah, how many does Shawshank have? I didn't-
One. It's got one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy to me. So,
All right.
so yeah, we're probably gonna be watching The Hunt for Red October, which I've never seen, but I know it's got Sean Connery in it. It's better.
Sean Connery, and I want to watch more of his films, so I'm excited.
Do you?
I do well because after The Name of the Rose, I can't stop.
That's
thinking about
true.
him.
Yeah, Name
He
of the
was
Rose
so
was dope.
good in that,
He
dude.
was
Like
dope.
I loved that movie. And
That
so,
was a
yeah.
really good movie, and that was the best part about that movie is it came out of fucking nowhere. Go listen to that episode. Name of the Rose is dope. So anyway, Logan, cool. Next week We got more bearded old men, Dad Month. You got it. And it's actually, Father's Day weekend and stuff. So, yeah. So, thank you. Check out all the stuff.
Come
Go
to
to Reddit.
our Patreon, please, and support us. That would be dope. Or YouTube is awesome. Tell your friends about our YouTube. I want to get one of those silver buttons, baby.
I know. I want more people. I want to talk about these movies. Man. I like hearing all the opinions. And for the Patrons, I finally, Jordan, made a new sticker. For the first time in months, I finally made a new sticker because
nice. Well, then it's gonna pump it out to it.
Yeah,
Did you put it on the drive?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'll check it out.
All right. Well,
tomorrow's my day off to do business work.
Nice. I'll see you crazy cats on the internet and next week. Yeah. Goodbye. Bye now.